Hi friends, it's great to see you again this week. So we've reached week 2 of Cooking Matters for Kids. My name's Ms. Nicole, and this week we'll be doing black bean and vegetable quesadillas together. So first I'll show you the ingredients and the tools we need for our recipe, and then we'll start cooking. This recipe uses black beans, corn, salt, pepper, and cayenne. So cayenne pepper is a spice that's very spicy. So if you don't like spicy food, you might want to leave this ingredient out or just use a little tiny bit. I also added cumin. Now cumin is not in your recipe, but it's an optional ingredient if you want a little more flavor. Cumin is not spicy. We have some olive oil to cook our vegetables in, whole wheat tortillas, some shredded cheddar cheese, and for vegetables this week we're using fresh spinach and zucchini. I'm going to go ahead and get these vegetables started. So I've already washed my hands and I've washed my vegetables, and the instructions tell us to chop the spinach and to grate the zucchini. Spinach is a leaf vegetable. It has these long stems attached to it. Can you eat the stems of spinach? Absolutely, you can eat the stem, but for this recipe, I'm choosing to cut it off. I'm grabbing a little bunch, chopping off the stems, just like this, and just running my knife through gently. Remember to use that claw and to move your fingers along with the knife so that you're not coming too close to your fingers as you cut. So just little pieces like this will be fine. And then using that claw like we use when we cut, I'm gonna pinch it and grate very carefully. The most important thing about grating is keeping your fingers away from where you're grating. You never wanna grate close up like this. You always want your fingers to be far away. I have all my vegetables and my canned foods prepared here, so that's gonna make it really easy now that we're starting our cooking process. So we have our grated zucchini, our chopped up spinach, and also I realized it was really easy to just pull the stems off the spinach, and I could even just tear it apart in my hands. I didn't really need a knife. I have my black beans, which I rinsed. So I opened this can and then I put it right into a colander in the sink and I rinsed them off because sometimes cans have a lot of salt in them and we don't want to get too much salt. We have our corn. I did the same thing with the corn, rinsed it off. And then our spices, we're just gonna sprinkle a little bit at the end. I'm starting by putting a little bit of cooking oil in our pan. This is olive oil and it tells you to put a couple tablespoons. So I'm just gonna eyeball it. I've been cooking for a while, so I kind of know what 2 tablespoons looks like in the pan, but you might want to measure it if you're home and this is new to you. So I'm letting that heat up. The first thing we put in our pan is the zucchini. And you can hear that sizzling, right? That means the pan is nice and hot now. And a little bit of this cayenne pepper. I'm gonna sprinkle just a little bit of this on top. I'm gonna stir this all around so that the oil is evenly dispersed on the zucchini. Our vegetables contain a lot of water. So what that means is when we cook them, that water evaporates and it ends up being a lot less than you think it's going to be. So for example, this bowl of spinach looks like it's gonna be overflowing in this pan, but by the time we cook it down, it actually won't be as much as you think it is. All right, we're cooking this for about 5 minutes, and then we're adding our next ingredient. So we are on to direction number 7. We're adding our corn and our spinach. I'm gonna add a little bit, and actually, I'm gonna add the rest on top of the spinach so that it stays down. If you want, you can always put a lid on the pan and that will help contain the heat, allowing the food to cook faster. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put this on for about a minute and give it another stir. That smells so good. I'm gonna tilt this a little so you can get a look at all those beautiful colors. And the last ingredient here is the black beans. All right, putting them right in. And then this last step is using your fork. You're going to mash these beans a little bit. Our final step is to put our quesadillas together. First, I'm putting a little cooking spray in my pan. Putting my quesadilla in the pan, I'm gonna add a little bit. All right, I'm spreading it around so that it's even, not too much, just, you know, put a couple spoonfuls on and see how far that spreads around. You want a thin layer of your filling, then you'll add your cheese. And then you're gonna pop that other quesadilla right on top. I can see the bottom is starting to brown a little bit, so I know it's perfectly ready to flip. And just like that, I don't know if you can see there in the video. Give it another minute, make sure that cheese is nice and melty before we take it off. Okay, I think this is just about ready. I'm checking underneath. And it looks ready to go. Ooh. Here is our final product. Look at how cheesy and delicious that inside is. All those colorful vegetables. And you can eat this with some salsa or maybe some guacamole or a little sour cream. Enjoy. Make sure you send a video and tell me how the recipe went this week. See you next week.